And we're recording.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so everybody's taken a look at the agenda and the minutes from last time. Are there any concerns about the minutes from our last meeting? Does anybody remember?
I'll make a motion to adopt them as circulated.
Okay,
I'll second it.
thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we turn it over to Jennifer basically, because Jennifer's got a couple of reports she has to give us, and that's pretty much it other than any new business that people want to bring up. Jennifer?
Okay, just trying to find them all here. Right, so, oh, don't need that document. Holy. Sorry, 500 documents, only so many spaces. So the first one is the my CEO's report.
Right.
And I'm gonna have to pull it off the web because I can't find it here. Minutes. And here we go. So I think I may have told you this before, but the work on the Sunnydale branch of the exterior that had been damaged has been completed and has been paid for by the patron who responsible for the damage.
Okay.
We're doing window displays in all the branches to encourage people to remember that we're still doing things on virtually. So they go up once a week and it shows the different crafts that have been done for the various age groups throughout the week. So it's a semi-static display. It changes every week at each branch. The New Stainer branch, our township chief building officer has approved occupancy. I can update on this. This Friday, the CAO of the township and I, along with RJ Burnside and the architect and the contractor, will be going through the building externally and internally to identify any deficits that need to be addressed. So we do have occupancy, but we will not be moving into the building until any deficits identified are addressed and corrected. Okay, and remember, it's our library, but it is a township building, so we have to abide by the stipulations put in there. Our Creemore branch, do you know that we've had in the township property to the east of the branch, a lot of planting went in last year. And so they have requested that we allow an irrigation company to come in and install a timer for the irrigation. That will be at their cost. We've had some issues with water supply in that branch. Today we did have T Nash Plumbing in to correct those issues. So the water is good to go. We're just waiting. I've been told by the group that it'll be about 2 weeks and they will have the irrigation company ready to set a date with me. So that's good because staff are now allowed in the building. That process will go pretty quickly. I won't have to call someone back from vacation because she's back this week. Our online, did you have a question?
No, I just think it's great that they're back.
Me too. Online programming. We've been doing a lot of online programming, and I've been speaking to my children's librarian who does a lot of the adult programming as well. And we really don't have much adult programming on there right now. So as this progresses, because I think we will be doing virtual programming for many months to come, we will bringing adult programming on stream as well. I'm hoping we now have a Zoom account that is the libraries. We're currently using the clerk's department because they can set us up in a webinar format, which is more secure. We don't really need that high level of security for small group meetings. So the library now has a small Zoom account and we're currently using it for staff meetings, but we will push that out to small group meetings. Perhaps even our book club will be able to meet using that at some point. very surprising in April. I haven't done statistics because, of course, today's the first day we've been allowed in the buildings for anything but maintenance purposes. But I can tell you that our April statistics for wireless usage were about half what our normal wireless usage is in a month, which is surprising. I do know that a couple of my staff have been going to the libraries and uploading in the parking lot in their cars because they have limited bandwidth at home. But that doesn't make up that much. I mean, it was over 400 wireless users in the month of April. It's usually around 800 to 1,000. So this tells us that people are coming and using the Wi-Fi externally. That's great right now when they're doing it in their vehicles because it's either raining or previously was cold. I'm a little more concerned in the summer months, but I think we really need to see how the provincial government rolls out increasing the size of groups that can congregate before we get too concerned about that. In terms of staffing, full-time staff have been encouraged to take vacation during this period because we do not want to come in halfway through the year with no one having taken vacation for 6 months and everyone vying for a spot for their vacations in the last 6 months of the year, because some will simply not be approved. We really, at this point, I know people are looking at when we move to curbside delivery service that, oh, well, that's a much reduced library service level. And it is, but it's also much more labor intensive. So we really do need everybody on hand for that. And that's pretty much the extent of the CEO's report. Are there any questions related to that I can answer? Councillor Leishman?
Yes, I think when it comes to our Wi-Fi in the parking lot, we're going to have to trust people and let them use their best judgment. I think, you know, at one point we have to step back and realize that people understand what's going on and that they're going to actually be good about it. If we start policing everything they do, we won't ever open up anything. So I guess my thing is that let's not stress out about what happens in our parking lots at the moment. If we see it gets crazy, yes, but I just don't see that happening. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I would agree with that because we haven't had any reports of people, you know, and people have been reporting in this period about their neighbors doing things they think they shouldn't in terms of social distancing. And we haven't had any reports like that. So obviously the people are being conscientious. I also think we're probably over the months going to see an expansion of the number of people that can be too close together. And it will probably go beyond just people in your own household. So yeah, it's something we need to be aware of, but yes, no cause for real concern at this point.
No, it's not even as if the staff can see the parking lot from the inside of the building, so.
Well, no, and I think they're doing it when we're not even there. So right. Not that we've been there much anyways, we've been working from home, but right. You know, I go into the Stainer branch twice a week to do checks and I get some work done there. There's nobody around. So I think they're doing it in the afternoons and evenings. Right. And if they're doing it responsibly, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and pretty soon in Stainer, you're going to have a great big parking lot so they can be safely apart using the Wi-Fi there.
We don't have Wi-Fi there.
There isn't going to be? There isn't going to be?
There is going to be, but right now, what the county wanted to do was move the switch over to the new facility. And right. I said, don't do that, because if I'm still coming into the old facility to get, you know, do the checks, get a few things done, then having it over in a facility that no one is allowed to access is ridiculous. So they didn't do that. So there's currently whatever Wi-Fi is available there is available through the existing Rogers account that right. the Parks and Rec department have, not the library. But yes, we certainly have Wi-Fi there.
Okay, good.
Right. And you're not going to turn the switch on the internet until later at the new building. Like, I mean, until everybody's in there, right?
No, as soon as we have the okay to we've got occupancy, but I need the township to say, yes, you can plan your move and start moving in. Once we've got the move in plan, part of that will be having the switch reconnected in the new facility. So it's coming very soon, because I can't have staff working there and not have access to the internet to get some things done. So it will be part of the move process.
Okay. Good. So the staff is all back now, Jennifer? Even the
No.
part-timers? No.
No, the part-timers were contacted today and instructed that June 2nd would be their first day back. So there is a letter going out to them, but in order to give them a decent notice period, I contacted them by phone today. The township HR manager and I are preparing the letter to go out to them.
Okay. Good. Because we'll need them back before we can start the move.
Yes, we'll need them back for the move. We'll also need them back because there'll have to be some preliminary training before we start providing curbside service.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's only, right now, it's not till June the 2nd that you're looking at curbside service, is that right?
That's correct. And that date was established, one reason because we had to provide them with some notice period. Some of them have small children that they're going to have to make arrangements for daycare and things of that nature. Others have second jobs that they'll have to make arrangements to resume hours with us. And the third reason is that we've ordered PPE, and as you can well imagine, a lot of that is delayed in reception. So we expect all our PPE to be in by the beginning of June. And so then we can go forward.
And you said before that the plexiglass panels have been ordered? Are they in
So
yet?
they haven't been ordered yet. I am meeting Thursday with Richard Holt. Can't remember the company name, but it's the same individual that the township is using. And we will be reviewing all three facilities, the new Stainer facility, not the existing one, as well as the Creemore and New Lowell branches, to determine a price for what he will put in there.
Okay.
Did he mention anything about a shortage, shortage for plexiglass?
He has identified that he can do a turnaround in about 3 weeks. So if I get him in, to look on Thursday and give me a decent quote, we can move forward. When we have curbside service, we do not need it installed. So
No.
we have some time. And just to remind everybody, although the Premier did say that we can open and do curbside service as of today, very few public libraries are doing that, recognizing that we all need some time for prep. And in addition to that, he has stipulated that if you don't think it's safe to do so, please don't do so.
Right. Connie?
Excuse me, have you had any staff say that they're nervous coming back, Jennifer?
Yeah.
To date, no. They've all said they're bored and can't wait to get back to work. So that's a good sign.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah, I wondered if anybody was planning to take an early retirement or something because they were concerned.
Well, the only ones who would be up for early retirement would be Glenda and myself. And I can assure you, we don't want to retire right now.
Right. Okay. Any other comments about the CEO's report or questions? No, I guess we'll move on to your other report then, Jennifer. That's more lengthy.
Okay.
We've already talked about some of it.
Yeah, we have. And this is, well, it was very preliminary May 12th, and bing, bang, boom, it became the de facto reopening plan. So it's good to know we were prepared. Initially, the CAO didn't think it would happen this fast, but of course, I've got my ear to the library ground, and I knew it was coming pretty quick. So in the first phase of reopening, it's really about getting PPE in, getting the staff back, because with just the full-timers, we're continuing to give our virtual presence a real go. Lots of programming still happening. I don't have enough staff to offer the pickup service that the Premier was talking about, or to take back the over 3,000 items that are currently out in a safe and conscientious manner. So we need the staff back. We need the PPE. Now, I've done a lot of research on this, and we probably need less PPE than some libraries are preparing for. It's important that we quarantine materials. We're going to quarantine them for 72 hours, which is the outlier for plastics. Paper is only 24 hours, so the CDC says, but we'll be really cautious and bag everything by date at each branch for 72 hours. To do that, well, we need plastic bags, but that's not a big deal. We need gloves, because we don't know how recently some of this material will have come in terms of when our staff are collecting it. And I want to make sure that not only are they safe, but they feel that they are safe. That's very important. In these times, you want your staff to feel that the employer is taking care of them. So we are being conscientious of that. We also need to clean high contact surfaces, not so much for the public, because we really aren't letting them very far into the building, just into the first set of double doors. But we need that, whatever table we put out there for pickup, clean and clear, and whatever the staff are touching. Okay, we need to clean that on a regular basis. So we've got that ordered. I have ordered masks, because I think it's going to give the public a sense of security. Probably when if you've had to go to a vet or any place of that order where you've had to do curbside pickup, they're usually masked when they come to the door. And we're going to do that. We're also going to have them wear masks when they're picking materials out of the drop boxes. Okay. When we're working face-to-face, if staff want to wear their own mask, I have a procedure in place for that. That's acceptable. I want them to feel comfortable, but we're not saying that that's a requirement. They're very expensive, and from everything I've read, they are not needed if we're keeping social distance. So, but the PPE has to come in. So and then we're going to do training. So we've got a couple of procedures in place we need to train on. There's some other ones that the HR manager at the township is working on that she's going to share with me. So basically their first week coming back will be a lot of training on how we are doing this curbside pickup and what the health and safety procedures are going to be for it. And then we'll be moving to open up the drop boxes to allow material to come back. And I would say that after that first week, that by the second week of June, we should be able to open for curbside service. And curbside service is the second phase. And I think I've identified throughout the report what we need. I believe by that point, our plexiglass or where glass or plexiglass will be installed at our circulation desks. Mm-hmm. The second phase will be when we're offering more service to the public. And this will probably mean that we allow people to come into the building, but it will be few in number. So we will have to patrol that. We have people who use us. There's lots of people who use us who are still working because they're considered essential workers, and they want access to the collection and our services too. So I've seen some libraries just offer small hours during the day. I don't think that's sufficient. I think some of these people need to be able to access us in the evening or on Saturdays. Bob, you have a question. You need to unmute yourself, Bob.
There we go.
Hear you, Bob. There you go.
I had it on mute. You're talking about phase 2 or phase 3 of letting people in? Because phase 2, I understood, was curbside service only.
It is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is phase 3. Would be where we let some people in. I have ordered some signage So that's coming, and I've done that to test out the supplier and what it looks like. If it's good, then I will order additional signage for the other 2 branches. That's all in stock, so it's coming very quickly. It will have directional signage and the floor labels for, you know, please wait here or please stand here. I'm not sure which it says. So we'd let people in for a short period of time in limited numbers. And I think we'd be doing a lot of helping them because we don't want them mauling the collection. One of the things we will have is carts out, so that we will ask patrons, anything you take off the shelf, please put on the cart. So staff will then go and make sure they're clean and put them back on the shelf later after they leave. And we'll be doing a cleaning after the patrons leave in their small groups before the next wave comes in. So a lot of the PPE we'll need for this phase will be exactly what we used in the previous phase.
So can I just get a little more explanation? Is it phase 2 you're looking at the 2nd week of June, or phase 3 the 2nd week of June?
Okay, so phase 2, when we're just bagging everything and taking it out, would be the 2nd week of June.
Okay, and phase 3, what's your anticipated?
I don't have one because I'm relying on the province. At this point in time, they are not allowing the public in the building. I mean, they're fine with them coming in the first door and picking up their material, but they're not allowed to come in and walk around. So I can't give you that until, that's why it says preliminary, because until we know more from the province, and your worship, you know from this morning's meeting that the province has not been great at giving us much of a heads up. You know, it's really, we think this is going to happen, and then bang, it happens, and you've got 24 or 48 hours to respond. So that's another reason why a lot of the libraries are not going directly to curbside delivery at this time, because we knew it was coming, but we thought it was further off, and it was sprung without too much notice.
Well, and the whole thing, the timeline is really in your hands, Jennifer. It's not, the province can tell us when we can, but not when we must, right?
Yeah, but I can't come to you and say, we're going to do this phase on this date until I know that the province is going to allow us to do that phase.
But just because they say we can does not mean we have to do it right then.
No, I think we
You're not ready or whatever. You know.
We have to be cognizant of the fact that when each stage we move to, our staff need to really understand what our process is going to be, and we have to know that we have enough PPE in place to be able to manage that. One of my big fears, which is getting allayed because I've made some good connections in terms of PPE, is that you don't want to open to your next phase based on thinking you have a good supply chain and then something happened to it and you have to close, because we would look like idiots, and that's not what we're about. So we're being careful. I want to do it as quickly as possible, but I want to do it in an intelligent and safe manner. Bob?
Jennifer, just wanted to think about the staffing. If we get to phase 3, we don't have enough staff for that. How are we going to provide the staffing and all the services that are going to be required for that?
Okay. Bob, we have enough staff, numbers. It's hours.
How are staff hours?
Well, that's
and,
okay.
Yeah, and when we get to that point, I think I will be coming to you with a little more detailed report on that aspect, because we may be looking at that point at reduced hours. But, you know, so we still have all the staff, but we don't have them working a 10-hour day to try to get through all of this. So I think in terms of bodies, we've got enough. But if we want to keep within our budget, we may have to temporarily reduce how many hours we're providing the service. Or we need to, you know, go to council and say, can we have some more money? Or because certainly when we've been closed, we have saved staffing money. I think in the order of about $3,200 a week that our staff were on declared emergency leave. But, you know, that's up to council whether they we'll see what happens there, but I will certainly give you more detail when we get closer to that, and I can do a little more analysis. It will help so much when I'm back in my office and I'm not looking at a little dinky screen and have cats intruding on my workspace to get some of this information done. It's, you know, the township staff have their information on Tom Rims, and they can get it at home. They've worked out a way to get access to their electronic files. We don't have anything similar. And so I either have to make sure that I take paper copies with me, or I put it on my email so I can access it on the laptop here. And you don't always remember what you need, right? So it quite often takes, you know, more than the regular amount of time to get something done in terms of administration. So some of that should be solved when we are back in the building every day.
Your staffing plan seems to call for at least 3 people at a branch at a time.
Yeah.
So the days of one person on staff are gone right now.
And we'll have to see. That's what I'm proposing right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, we often have more than 3 people at the Stainer branch just because they are doing other things, right? A lot are in the back room working on programming and that sort of thing. And we may have to swing it where, you know, I can send the children's librarian who lives in New Lowell to work out of the New Lowell branch.
Yeah, New Lowell and Creemore, it's not unusual to only have one person on at a time.
It's normal that we only have one person on in that branch. There's usually 2 people on in Creemore.
Yeah.
So we'll find a way to make this work. I haven't got the details down perfectly at this point. It's a work in progress. But yeah, I recognize that we may have to do some rejigging of our open hours. But we won't be the only public library to have to look at that. Many public libraries, even for the curbside service, are only offering it every other day.
Right.
So I guess once we get to the point where you can actually do a forecast of the manpower that you require, maybe Doug, do you have some idea of how long it would take for us if we had to go over budget? How long it would take for us to get approval to go over budget?
Your worship, maybe you could jump in on that. I don't know if it would be going over budget exactly, Bob, because we have saved about $12,000 in staff costs until we bring the staff back. So I know council had looked at, you know, what can we save from this, but there are going to be staffing expenditures because we're moving back to an open position.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just jump in and say that if you look at other businesses that are opening right now, they're not seeing the volumes of people that they had thought. People are, you know, as much as it's great to have them open and provide business, have opportunities to go and the commerce and so on, I think our library is going to be no different. I don't think you're going to get lineups around the block to access the facility. So I think the staffing we have underneath the leadership of Jennifer should be able to handle the demand for the workload. And if it really starts to exceed, Jennifer's right, there is some room in there in savings that's already taken place as far as the budget. But I think we'll just deal with that as we get closer to it. I think you're working in the right direction. And it's kind of funny, this board may not know, but Jennifer's plan and I on another meeting, it was funny because Jennifer and I were both thinking exactly the same way about how this reopening was going to happen. And so we kind of shared that with each other in the group that we were with. So anyway, I think it's a good plan and it's well thought out, and it represents providing service that the citizens of Clearview need. So I think we're in good shape. Does that help answer your question, Bob?
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want us to get caught with a problem trying to hire the staff in if there's a real need for them. the savings that we have accrued over this period of time might disappear fairly quickly.
Oh, for sure. And in fact, there will be some expenses. Jennifer mentioned just getting the plastic shields, for instance. Certainly there's a cost there that was certainly not budgeted for. So there will be some costs in getting open for sure.
Plus the PPEs we have to buy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the bags and everything else, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's stage 4 or phase 4 would be more people coming into the building. I think throughout this, you're going to see in all public buildings a real move to do a lot more cleaning. So this.
You mean throughout the day, Jennifer?
Well,
because now we do it.
Staff will be doing
day, right?
Yeah, we do. I'm not talking. I mean, we're probably next. You know, this is going to take a long time to bring us all the way to phase 5, which is return to whatever normal is. And I think next year we may be looking at increased cleaning costs, if for no other reason than we'll be in the new building, and that's anticipated that it's going to cost more to clean than the much smaller Stainer branch. But I think you're going to see across public buildings and community services a need to ensure that there is more cleaning done even at night, so that there's more of an effort put into cleaning high contact surfaces. I mean, how often do doorknobs get cleaned? You know, I'm sure that happens once or twice a week. I don't think it happens every day by the cleaner. And I'm thinking that things like that probably need to be stepped up a bit. So we won't be the only ones looking at that. I mean, when the town hall reopens, it will be a public building. Public isn't in most of it, but you're going to want the parts where the public come in to, you know, I really think there's going to be more of an emphasis on having those high contact surfaces cleaned. And I do think that by the time we get to even into phase 4, you're going to see staff becoming very adept at doing that kind of cleaning throughout the day.
Can I just interject again? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how the washrooms in particular will be affected, because I know that's one of the things that I've considered. Oh, gee, I can go out now, but is there anywhere where I'll actually be able to use a public washroom?
Not until we're in, I believe, phase 4.
And the staff will be able to, they'll have to be doing some cleaning their surfaces and so on in the washrooms?
I don't imagine I'll have them doing toilets, but I'll certainly be having them be doing taps and perhaps not the toilet bowl, but yes, maybe if it's a press lever, I can't remember what the new facility in Stainer has, then that will have to be wiped regularly. But initially, in the first couple of phases, we're not open for public washrooms to the public.
Okay, thanks.
And then the final phase is phase 5. And I don't think it's ever going to be what normal was before. It will be a new normal, but it will be more normal. Because honestly, in the previous phases, we're not looking at, I mean, we've got this new facility in Stainer with a beautiful group study room. I can see maybe initially we're going to have quarantine materials in there. As we move through the phases, we can probably let one person at a time use it. If the reason, because it's a big enough room for more than one, but I'm worried about there's only one access and egress. So we'll have to see about that. And the tutorial rooms are really small, guys. And until we're in phase 4, I can't see using them for any more than one person. So as tutorial rooms, they're a bust. But for private study and for people taking exams, because this last year we have just been at all our branches swamped doing exams. Online education has come into its own, and people from universities across the country and colleges are coming to us and booking exam time. We've had to put them in my office or any other place that really, you know, first off, I like to work in my office. And second, it's really not designed for that sort of thing. These rooms will be ideal. They can bring in their laptops because most of these exams are on laptops and can be done through our Wi-Fi. And we can see into the room to do the observation that's required without disturbing them. So the rooms are going to get used and well, just maybe initially not in the way that we had foreseen. It's a new day.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, you just mentioned that the group study room only has one access?
I think, does it not have an external one into the,
I don't think so.
I thought it was supposed to be available 24 hours a day. Like it was supposed to be, we could.
yeah, it's got an external access into the hall, the atrium, but that's hard for me to control. We'll have to see how that works, Bob. We may be able to open that up a bit more, especially if the province says, you know, more people can congregate together. We may open the other door so that people can get into it and somebody can go out. So we'll have to, but certainly initially that's going to be, we're running out of space to put bags and bags of books for 72 hours. So and as we all know, the new building is beautiful, but it lacks storage space. So, and initially the people can't come into the building anyway. So, and in the next phase, even when they can come in the building, they can only stay for a limited period of time. So that won't be. Now, something you do have to consider is we have lots of seating in that building. We're going to have to take some of it and store it for a bit. Because if you have seating, people are going to sit. But it doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. Some form of normalcy will come back. And we will get good use out of the furnishings we purchased. But initially, we're going to have to either store or block off furnishings in all three of the buildings. And we will have to move the computers out, which I understand in the new facility in Stainer will not be a problem because we had data ports put throughout the building. So we can easily move some of the computers to other parts of the building without having to rely on them being on Wi-Fi. Are there any other questions related to the plan?
It's going to be a work in progress, isn't it?
It certainly is.
A learning experience for us all.
But don't worry, every 20 minutes the plan changes with the government of Ontario. So.
Yeah, really? Only every 20 minutes?
Oh, dear.
Okay. Questions about it then? Jennifer, do you want to present the, I guess, the financials?
Okay, so I'm not sure if I've got the wherewithal to share this on. Kayla, are you still there? How do I share this on my screen?
I'm still here. At the bottom of your screen, you should see a green arrow
Share
that says
screen.
share,
Okay.
and
Yep.
you'll select the screen that you'd like to share.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so blah, blah, blah. Here's the meeting date. This is for April, and here are the amounts for the two bank accounts. So you can see we've had, well, okay, so it's just interest. Although we must have got a donation that I processed in April in there. But at any rate, that means we're at about 100,000 there, and then we've got about 20,000 in the township that was given to us in securities. So we've got a ways to go, But of course, everything's on hold right now because of the pandemic in terms of fundraising. But yeah, and I think, Kimberly, you're still working on trying to find funding for that robotics equipment?
Yes, yes. I had a good training session with Kathy at Grant Advance. And yeah, so she's actually available for any time I have, you know, further questions that need addressing, or, you know, any questions I have as I go on through the process. So yes, I'm hopeful. It's basically the same process that we did before. It's just going to be targeted at, you know, slightly different source. So, or, you know, our target for funding is a bit different. You know what I mean? What we want, our end result. So I have to write a new letter. I'll probably base it on the old one, the one that Bob wrote, and just see if, you know, I can modify it a bit in relation to what we're now seeking funds for, like to make it a bit more specific. You know what I mean? To that,
Yes.
to that need. And then I'll you can only hear me, right? You can't hear my children in the background.
Well, a
I'm
little
hopeful.
Yeah.
I already asked them to be a bit quiet, and they're like, turn up your turn up the speaker. Anyway, so so I'll need to do a new letter, and of course, you know, compiling a list of funders with their addresses and stuff from the database, and put it all together. But I'll and then I think we'll take it from there. Does it sound okay? I'm targeting at this point for a fall, you know, mail out. If you know what I mean?
Mhm. I think that's great, Kimberly, because it'll be a while before we'll want. I don't think we're in a rush. It's important that we do it if we want to provide this program, but you know,
Good point.
not happening right away. Mary, you had
Yeah,
something?
I was just thinking that we maybe want to keep a really close eye on the federal government and the grants that they're going to be sending out for different things related to electronics and computers and things. We might be able to get some investment from our federal government as they widen up that and produce, you know, provide things for different groups.
I'll certainly let you know if I hear of anything.
I'll let you know if I hear of anything.
Okay, that was it for the financial reports. Madam Chair?
Okay. Under new business, Tony, you wanted to address your program that you were planning to have for the Small Halls Festival?
Yes,
First of all, the Small Halls Festival officially canceled?
yes.
Okay, figured as much. Yeah.
I don't know whether it's been put out in the public yet, but on Friday, I got an email from the chair of Sunnydale Hall that said that they had decided on Friday to cancel it. The problem is that we have to start doing the programming and booking things and planning and advertising and everything else now. And with everything being so uncertain, it just wasn't, you just don't know. Are you going to get the volunteers? Are you going to get people out? I mean, it's just too uncertain.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking, you know, folks, Michelle and I have done a bit of work on this polar excitement and polar exploration and everything. And I'm wondering if you want to continue with that somewhere along the line. Maybe have planned for to do it in the winter or maybe early next spring, maybe in conjunction with an open house or some kind of grand opening. I don't know. It's just a shame to let it go when we've got all this stuff together. And this is the year that my kids are down. They won't be down after next August. Right. So they are our resource for information and for different objects,
Mhm.
as well as throat singing and everything else. So I'm not sure how you feel about it. I know right now the enthusiasm just isn't there,
Yeah.
and I'm not about to push it, but I'd like you to just think about it, and maybe we could do it some other time and maybe use it as a fundraiser, just because it would be a shame not to take that opportunity.
Yeah,
Anyway, I throw it out to you.
right. Bob?
The meeting that I attended, there was a question raised as to whether Small Halls Festival would have a change of time.
Mhm.
That having it the weekend before Thanksgiving was perhaps not the best time in the world to try to run that event. A time that was being considered was July, August sort of window. They didn't come to any conclusion. It was going to be discussed at this follow-up meeting. Do you know, was there anything related to that discussed at that meeting?
I
Friday?
do that they discussed it, but I'm not sure that they came to any real decision. But I think the idea is out there and it's being looked at. And it was getting a bit tricky to have it in that time slot since we had the G&E and a few other things as well around there. So I guess it'll depend on when they pick it. I don't know whether there's a weekend even available in the summer that there's nothing going that's, normally is going now, but I'm sure, who knows, after all of this, there might not be anything in the summer. We can probably pick whatever we want.
So they were looking at 2021 as being the potential new date, but your gang is only available until August of this year.
August.
So that wouldn't,
August of next year, 2021. They will be there. They'll be there right up until August.
okay. So if they decided to change the time window for Small Halls Festival, it might be possible to run that same event during that period if it's before they leave.
Yes, it's possible.
The Lions Club, who also had an event on for Small Halls this year, they can also adjust their time schedule. So the reason I wanted to know whether anything had happened was because I want to take that back to the Lions Club as well.
Right.
So no decision made as far as a different time frame?
No final decision, just that it was
Do you have
discussed.
something to say about that? Sorry, Mr. Measures?
Councillor Leishman,
Yes.
this has not been discussed with council at this time. So, and in fact, there has not been any official notification that the Small Hall Festival has been canceled. So this is a premature discussion.
It is. Unfortunately, a lot of the presidents took it back with them.
That's good for them.
Yeah.
But as a representative of council, you and we can't discuss this.
Okay.
Lips are sealed.
Yeah, but Connie's point was about her program, whether or not we told it was an independent program, and we definitely can. It doesn't have to be attached to the Small Halls Festival.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as it's out there and we know.
Yeah. Any other new business that somebody would like to bring forward? I guess not. So can we have, Jennifer, you done, or did you want to say something else?
I think she shook her head no.
Okay, so I guess we'll have, sorry.
I'd just like to thank everybody that involved in this for the way that you've managed all of this COVID activity and the information you've gotten out to us, and the way that everything has, been received and thought ahead and planned, and we just sort of feel like things are going ahead as they should, and that's a nice feeling when you're on a board like this. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer, for doing such a good job.
That's great. Thank you for that comment. It's there's a lot of moving parts and an awful lot of questions and not enough answers.
Yeah.
And so when I said earlier that everything changes every 20 minutes, unfortunately, it's actually true. It does. And so we don't know what is coming next. So we just have to be prepared to be patient. That's all there is to it. So I appreciate what you said, Mary, because it's difficult to get all the information out and satisfy everybody's questions when we don't even know either. So thank you.
Yeah, and you don't even know, because people are sitting in their homes, you don't even know how they are reacting to anything because they're not able to share that with their neighbors and get calmed down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, having this meeting right here is good. We can all see each other and have a talk. So that's good.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
And I presume the June meeting will also be done via Zoom. I bet we'll be meeting in groups even then.
I think we're going to be meeting virtually for a long time, but the June meeting will be our last meeting before our summer break. At the June meeting, we're going to have to appoint a budget committee that will then meet somehow to prepare the 2021 budget.
Yeah, okay. So we're looking at, you must have a date on your agenda here.
June 16th.
Okay, good. So June 16th, we'll have our next Zoom meeting and we'll be getting the proper links and everything to join it. Okay. Can I somebody make a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. And we don't need a seconder, I don't think. Thanks, Jennifer. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
healthy.
you.